Hello everyone, my name is Michael, and today we will discuss how to work with interpreters in the classroom. For faculty and staff, there might be many questions one might seek to find when working with interpreters. Questions like who is an interpreter? What are interpreters supposed to do? Why are there multiple interpreters? What are the do's and don'ts of having an accessible class? An interpreter is a person who translates one language into another language. The interpreters are in the classroom for communication purposes only. This means whatever the professor says, the interpreter will interpret to the student. The interpreter will also translate comments from the student to the professor. The professor may expect to have 2 or more interpreters at a time. According to the National Consortium of Interpreter Education Teams, after approximately 30 minutes of interpreting, concentration starts to decline, so multiple interpreters work together to relieve each other. This ensures that the standard of accurate communication remains high. A few tips that interpreters and professors may want to use in order to provide better accommodation for accessibility students are preparing for class ahead of time. Always leave decision making to the student. Don't assume what is best for the student. It's better to ask. The best way to ensure accommodation with less learning barriers is to prepare ahead of time. Tips for preparing ahead of time include adding captions to the videos you will be using for the course. Information on how to caption videos may be available from the Accessibility Department. Adding an accessibility statement in your syllabus is a good way to notify your class that you are open to accommodate different ways of learning in the classroom. An accessibility statement may include information about the disability services, such as where to get accommodations. Provide access to course materials for interpreters. This will give interpreters the chance to review terms and words used in the course for better translation. The student is familiar with what method of learning works for them. The student may suggest solutions that have worked in the past. The following clip was obtained from the National Deaf Center on post-secondary outcomes. In this video, Autumn shares highlights of a particular experience in the classroom.
So, my worst experience ever was watching music videos in my intimate relationships class. Some videos were about love or heartbreak or whatever, that's not the point. One day, I had a substitute interpreter. I felt so bad for her. We ended up making a joke of it, but I still felt bad. The slow songs were fine, but others were raps she did not know at all. I told her she didn't have to interpret the songs, but she at least wanted to try her best. The instructor said it was so fun to watch the interpreter that we should always watch without captions. After class, I had to tell the teacher that wasn't cool. It's not fair because I didn't even learn anything today. It was frustrating having to approach the teacher like that. I know it can't impact my grade, but I don't want them to have a negative view of me because I need them to help me. Sometimes people forget because they just think Autumn looks like everyone else, but no, I need accommodations and want to make sure they are aware I can't hear. I've been accused of lying about it. No, it's a real thing. It's a hidden struggle because sometimes people don't realize that I'm actually deaf. I do need help. It's not like I can understand speech independently. It may look easy to lip read, but I'm guessing at what I miss and can't maintain lip reading for very long. Lip reading only captures about 30% of the alphabet, so it's really not possible to keep up.
In this scenario, Autumn was given accommodation but not access. Her access was denied due to the video not being captioned. The fact that the substitute interpreter did not know the song makes it safe to assume that there was no access to the course materials prior to the class, making it more difficult for the interpreter to translate. Students who require accommodation may prefer to use sign language instead of speech. Some require visual descriptions. Some students might need a professor to lecture a bit slower. The professor and interpreters will never know these preferences unless they ask the student. Continuous communication between the professor, the student, and the interpreters will create a more stable accommodation. It helps the student not to fall behind during the semester and gives the professor an opportunity to make changes to help the student. The following clip was obtained from the National Deaf Center on Post-Secondary Outcomes. This clip describes Michelle's experience as a student working with interpreters.
I think it is important to meet and take some time out to learn about each individual person's needs because the deaf community is a wide spectrum of individuals with needs that are different. One can't assume that everyone will require the same accommodations. I appreciate it when an interpreter comes to me and asks what communication mode I require. They will ask if I prefer lip reading or not. They ask me where I prefer them to sit, where I am most comfortable, whether they should sit or stand. That's a very positive thing I've noticed. Some interpreters, however, may cross boundaries. If, during a lecture, a presenter asks a question, the interpreter might answer for the deaf person. That's not appropriate. The spotlight should always be directed to the deaf person instead of the interpreter taking over that role and crossing boundaries.
From Michelle's story, students are more appreciative when interpreters ask questions like what mode of interpreting they prefer or where they prefer to sit in class. Communication with the professor should be from the student's point of view and not from the interpreter. We have reached the end of tips for working with interpreters in the classroom. Thank you for watching. See you next time.